is is 12/26. So it's the new year. It's the Gina card deck. Happy New Year. And let me be the first to officially tell you, Gina, since it's 12/26 on January 1st, I'm the first to tell you happy birthday for 2025, technically. I'm going to go ahead and pull the card. I'm going to go ahead and pull the card because I'm thinking about it now. I am not intoxicated, so I've got all my faculties. Though I probably won't pick the book tonight. I'm going to pick the card, but I'll probably pick the book in the morning. I would love if this was a card that I could apply to one of my graphic novels that I have, because then maybe I can finish it in one day. Not that I want to rush through your challenge, but also like it would be nice to like set the scene for the new year by finishing a book on the first day. So I've got the cards. Third year at this. We know what we're doing. I don't know, it feels more serious. Okay. We've got a lot of options. I probably won't pick this first one because I feel like I can see it. I think I'm going to go for, there's one with like a chipped edge here. I know you can't see, but I can see it. So I think that's the one I'm going to pick. It's just one? Okay. Ooh. I can already tell there's a lot of writing on it. Alright, let me put the other cards back. Please be good to me. Read a book that has been on your TBR the longest. What's been on my TBR the longest? It just had to be one of these ones with like a TBR thing. So, morning me, later in the day when the sun is out me, is probably going to decide which of the options ahead of me to do, because I can go to like Goodreads and Storygraph and see what's been added the most recently or furthest away. Or I can just look at what's on my shelves and go, that's been there a while. Has been on your TBR the longest. Why? Why is my... Don't do that. My brain is going to House of Leaves because it's been in this library for so long. Oh, that would suck though. That's not a good first of the year read. Ooh. Been on your TBR the longest. Okay, we'll see. You're gonna have to be okay with this lighting. I know it's not good. But this is the best we've got under circumstances. I'm logging into things to make sure I've set up all my goals for the year and things, and I'm gonna try to find the book I've had in my TBR the longest. I don't think it's gonna go well, and here's why. I didn't start tracking and keeping up with TBR until maybe 2015, 2016. Real late in the game, honestly. And I kind of did all at once. TBR, things I didn't own, things I didn't really, just all of it. It was kind of chaotic. So I don't know how well this is gonna go. We'll see. And if I sound bad, it's because I feel bad. I don't feel particularly good today, which does not bode well for teaching in a couple days. Anyway, let's just see. I'm gonna go to my profile on Goodreads. I'm not gonna screen record anything. I'm sorry. The technology is still not here. Maybe by like later in the summer I'll figure it out. I don't have the energy today. My to read shelf on Goodreads is 711 books. I'm gonna filter it by date added, like the earliest one. See, this is what I'm talking about. There are June 21st, 2015. It is a billion different books. It is, the reason I made the face at the camera is because the first one is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I don't want to read that. But it's also The Wind in the Willows, Searching for Dragons, Artemis Fowl, Coraline, Great Gatsby, To Kill a Mockingbird, Fahrenheit 451, Battle Royale, Frankenstein. I've read a bunch of those, but because Goodreads is dumb, it still recognizes them as TBR. Am I going to have to read The Name of the Wind? That's the beginning of a series. And I mean, I've heard it's good. But, like, it's literally not even finished. And I'm not going to read that. I hate a redo on the very first thing, but I'm not doing that. I've heard good things about it, and I have friends who've read it who really like it, and I get that. But, like, maybe I'll just read The Wind in the Willows. Because it's a kid's book. It'll take me, like, no time at all to read. Oh, my God. This shouldn't be bringing me this much frustration this early in the year. I just want you to know that. But I think just like logistically, I'm going to do The Wind in the Willows because I'm not reading the beginning of a series that's unfinished. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that to myself. So The Wind in the Willows it is. I was beginning to go a little bit insane, okay? I knew I had a copy of this book, and I knew I had a hardcover copy here in the room because I kept the hardcover over the paperback. And I had been looking for it, and I literally can remember the last time I had my hands on it. And I must have put it somewhere on my shelves. I literally do not know where it is. I thought I was going to have to check this book out from the library because I couldn't find it anywhere. And finally, I was cleaning my classroom today because we start school in 2 days. And I happened to find the paperback that I brought to school. Now, I've never read Wind in the Willows. It is apparently a childhood classic for some. Stephen grew up watching the made-for-TV animated movie about it that starts with real life people in a boat and telling a story about the animals that live on this river. And it's essentially about Mole and Ratty and their friend Otter and Badger and their friend Toad, who always wants the nicest, flashiest, coolest thing, and he gets himself in trouble trying to do that. But also there are weasels, and the weasels are bad. It's just a silly little kid's book. So knowing the plot will help. We saw the play last year. Last year, the local theater troupe put it on as a play, and it was very cute. They had to take some stuff out because it was past their actors' capabilities. But overall, the message was you can't take life too slow, not do anything, but you can't go too fast because you miss it. You kind of got to find the just right amount of speed to go through life. All that is to say, I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if the book's like that at all, but that's what the movie and the play were like, so I'm assuming the book is similar. I also don't think it's going to take me very long, which is great because I'm in a competition with my kids to try to read more books. So if I could go ahead and read a book and be one up on them, that would make me feel pretty good. But I'll come back to you when I'm about halfway and let you know how I feel about it. You know what's really funny? I wore this sweater last year in the January section. I just really love this sweatshirt. Sorry, not sorry. So it's, what day is it of the month? The 18th. It's January 18th. We should talk about this because I'm about 50% through it. I'm listening to it on audiobook and I'm picking up physically when I can, but I'm about 50%. This doesn't have a plot. It's just animals doing things. And I mean, I know I'm not the target audience. I'm not like a British child at the time this was written. I can sense the vibes. I'm not the target audience. But it is really not pretentious in the way that we normally think of pretension, right? Like it insists upon itself, but it kind of does insist upon itself with just the descriptions of things. And I guess I can't romanticize it enough. I'm not getting into the headspace of romanticizing this area that I don't know. And I can respect that the author is, and that people probably romanticize the book because of that. But me, it's just I get lost
in that, and then suddenly someone's talking. But ultimately, what has happened so far is Mole is starts with him. He's cleaning his house. He goes outside and he's like, "Oh, it's lovely out here. Look at the river." He meets Ratty and Otter and briefly Badger and Toad. And Toad is like, "I gotta have the biggest and best thing in all the world." And he's got a rowboat at the beginning, and then he's like, "I have the best carriage and it does all these things." And then they get passed by a car, and he's like, "Oh my God, I need that car." And so then Ratty and Mole and Badger are like, "We have to keep Frog from literally killing himself and getting in trouble. So we're gonna lock him into his house." And he tricks them and gets away and like steals a car. And I can't remember how they phrased what he did to the police officer. Do it. Let me find it. Okay, so Toad, like, he steals a motor car. So he's in trouble of one, stealing a valuable motor car, secondly, of driving to the public danger, and thirdly, of gross impertinence to the rural police. And I just find that the thing that one of the one of the worst ones is like, yeah. So supposing you were to say 12 months for the theft, which is mild, 3 years for the furious driving, which is lenient, and 15 years for the cheek, which was pretty bad sort of cheek, judging by what we've been heard from by the witness box, even if you only believe 1/10 of what you heard. And I never believe more than myself. Those figures, if added together, total up to 19 years. So I love that, like, the cheek, the, like, kind of like screw you to the police officer got him the most amount of time. So, um, they go off and do some stuff. Mole's like, "Oh, I can't believe I left my home. My home was so nice." And they go back in the like winter and clean it up. And there's some field mice that are caroling, and that's where I left it. Because again, I kind of know the plot. I know that Toad goes on now a journey to kind of get back home and escape jail. So last night I just watched Animal Crossing and played Animal Crossing. I haven't been on my island in a while. And listened to Wind in the Willows. So again, I'm about halfway. It certainly is a book. I don't think it's going to be up there on some of my favorites for this year, but it is a book. And I am going to finish it this weekend because I'm going to beat that child in my class at having the most books read so far. We only have we have one each. And I have my fingers crossed that we're going to get snow in a couple days, and then I can have like a remote day and I can just read or listen to an audiobook all day long. Oh, the dream. And probably the next day too, because if we get enough snow, we'll probably have a delay or another day off. So again, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. But that's Wind in the Willows. That's the update. That's all I've got for you. It's so loud. Like, why would that thing turn on about the time I get out here? Anyway, hey Gina, it snowed on your birthday. Just kidding. It snowed in January, and I thought I'd come out here and do the wrap up of Wind in the Willows for January. Out here in the snow, or what's left of it. It's the 23rd now, so most of my yard is melted. But this is still snow back here. It was pretty. I thought yesterday about filming, and then I didn't. Sorry. Let's talk about Wind in the Willows. It was good. It was fine. It's passable. It's covered in snow now. It's children's lit, so like it is what it is. I don't know what to say. It wasn't a bad book. It was just a 3. You know, it didn't actually have a plot really till about halfway through, and I'm not really sure what the moral was besides like don't go too fast through life, don't go through too slow. I don't know. Maybe if I'd read this as a kid, I'd care more about it. Steven has a real big affinity for the story because he grew up watching the movie, like the little like made-for-TV movie about it, and I can see how like if you grew up with that story, it would make sense to like enjoy the book. But to me, it was kind of like Alice in Wonderland and Christmas Carol-y in like the tone, and I like both of those, so it was fine. But I just don't really. I think anthropomorphized animals are not my bag. I just don't really care about that, and I'm not the target audience. I understand that, but this was one of the longest ones on my TBR. I don't know if I'd be feeling better if maybe I had read The Name of the Wind instead, but I don't think I would have enjoyed that much better, much better. God bless. Let me just go inside. But that was January's book, the longest on my TBR. I'm not going to pull a card today because we still have another week of January. How is this the longest month ever? Anyway, let me go. People are going to start staring at me. I don't want to talk about the fact that the Christmas tree is still up. I just haven't had time, okay? It's currently January 26th, but I think it's time to pull for February. This is the last, like, full week of January. February starts on Saturday. It's been a weird week with all the snow and stuff, so I don't even really feel like it's still January, but somehow inexplicably it is still January. I'm currently still working through all of the independent read options from my AP class, so it would be really great if I can get a card that I technically can apply to one of them, because I have to read them anyway. But here are the cards. I'm sorry that the lighting is bad. You can't really tell them apart, but I'm going to pick this third one in here. Oh gosh. I don't know why it always feels like a big ordeal every time. It is, but it isn't. All right, you ready? Read a book that has a main character named Samantha. Well, I can't apply it to the independent reads, but I'll find something. I know exactly what I'm going to read, and it's mainly for the joke of it and not because I think it's going to be a good book. I actually really think February is not going to be a good book now, but let me get it. I know exactly what book I'm going to read. It's been a few days. You're once again not allowed to comment on my tree. I know my Christmas stuff is not put up yet. Okay. So, as a reminder, the card has a main character named Samantha, and I immediately knew what I was going to read, and that's because I've had this book for so long. And I've had multiple editions of this book. The first book I ever had of this was a hardcover that I bought for like 25 cents in a library book sale. Because some facts about me. I'm a horse girl. I come by that honestly. And so the real reason I picked this up is because it has a horse on it. But this is Palomino by Danielle Steele. This was published in... Get ready to just feel old. Oh gosh. This was published in 1981. So pre-me by a while. And I'm just going to read you the back. Sometimes love demands a terrible choice. A dazzling beauty, a dynamic award-winning advertising executive, wife of nationally known TV anchorman, Samantha has the world on a string, until the morning John told her he was leaving. She thought life was over, but it had barely begun. Suddenly she was torn between her New York career and the majestic freedom of California, aching for a rugged cowboy who promised nothing but the irresistible passion of the moment. Sometimes love has no choice at all. Reckless and impulsive, Samantha would risk everything, lose everything, to find a rare courage, a courage equal to the untamed spirit of the proud stallion that would carry her into a new world of endless and enduring love. This is the dumbest shit. But that's not why it has to be this one. No. This one, and I'll have to go a couple pages in. This one is particularly appropriate for that card. This is on the second page where we're still describing her. She was a woman of 1,000 contrasts, huge dancing eyes with a sharp look that saw all, in sudden contrast to the sensual fullness of her mouth, the narrow shoulders, the large breasts, the large graceful hands, the softness of her voice in contrast to the intelligent precision of her words. Somehow, one expected Samantha Taylor to have a southern drawl, to languish on a velvet chaise lounge, her form framed by negligee trimmed in marabou. Instead, she was given to jeans and bounded across rooms with long stride. She was filled with energy and life, except tonight, except for the past 100 nights. My name is Samantha Taylor. Like, pre-married me is Samantha Taylor. So when I read this as a child and saw, oh, it's about Samantha, and then saw the name was Samantha Taylor, not to reveal too much about me on the internet, but that's hilarious. It's gonna be a bad book. I'm preparing myself for this to be a bad book, but that's okay because February is my birthday month. It's appropriate that the card is about me. And I think we're going to get some laughs out of this book that was written in 1981 and is clearly just a romance novel. But I don't know. Maybe we'll all be surprised and I'll really like it. But I doubt it. I doubt that I'm going to like it. But I'll read it anyway. So, yeah. Stay tuned. This arc is going to be wild. I just discovered that Nimoy peed on my grad school notebook. The notebook I use for grad school. And when I read books for grad school, I tab it and I make notes so that way I'll be prepared for the forum. And he peed on it. And I'm halfway through the next text for class. It's fine. I read the first chapter of this. It's it's of a time, right? It's 90s romance, so it describes the woman in absolutely silly ways. She is the best to ever do it, you know, the prettiest, the hottest, the smartest, the best at her job. So why doesn't this man want her? And like that, there is a place for that in romance, and I think that is the place you find that is in romance. Like, yeah, I want to see these people who are perfect do things. This is fiction. Um, she's not like me at all, but I didn't think she would be, even though we're named the same thing. She at the end of this chapter has just received sort of a, a multi-month, I want to say, vacation sabbatical thing from work, and they're like, "Hey, go mourn the fact that you're divorced and that your husband is having a baby with his co-anchor that he cheated on you with for 7 years. Go chill out." And she's like, "Cool, I'll call this lady who is the aunt of my dead roommate from college. She has a ranch in California, and I'll go hang out with her." So that's where she's headed when this starts. So I'm assuming that's where she's going to meet all the way on the cover. It's interesting because, like, it's not really a, like, romance cover as far as, like, a bodice ripper cover. So I'm wondering what that entails about the plot. I don't know. We're going to find out. Full disclosure, I've not been doing well reading this. I'm actually only 6 chapters in, but I did read like all of that last night. Um, it's just been really busy, and I've been prioritizing the small independent reads that my AP Lit class is reading, so I can beat the student in class who thinks she's going to read more than me. So this one has not been high priority, but it is now like February 15th, and I've only gotten that far. So I got to get to reading. This is a romance novel, and a romance novel is really only good as its romantic lead. And this one is interesting. So it's an older lead character. Samantha is 30. She is I would love to tell you, she does a thing. Is she an advertising executive, maybe? She's one of those jobs that people have in like romantic comedies that don't really make sense or do anything, but like it's a job, right? So that's what she is. She's tall and platinum blonde with big tits and legs that go on for days, and she's so sweet and nice and great. And her husband is divorcing her because he feels like he has to compete with her. She doesn't let him just be the man. Like, he obviously has some sexism going on, and he wanted a girl who like is a wifey, and she's not that person. And so he has an affair for like multiple years with his co-host because he's a news anchor, and she gets pregnant, and Samantha can't have kids, so he's like, well, I'm gonna see myself out. And so she's got to watch her like ex-husband and his new wife like expect a baby on the news like every night. She starts spiraling. Her friend she works with is like, you have to go take a break. So she calls the aunt of her old college roommate who passed away 10 years prior, and is like, I'm gonna come stay with you on your ranch in California for like 6 months. Turns out Samantha's a horse girl, and like has been riding horses since she was 5. She had like dreams of going to the Olympics. She's like ridden in all kinds of competitions and medaled and ribbons and all that kind of stuff. But she hasn't ridden in like 2 years. And so she goes and she's like, I gotta hold my own against these guys. I'm gonna be working as a ranch hand, like, because the lady's like, hey, you don't have to, but I did tell them you were gonna be working. So if you're going to do that, you need to be impressive. The lady whose ranch she's at used to be famous back in the day, and it's giving Carrie Fisher vibes, or maybe even Debbie Reynolds vibes, like kind of faded away from view, and like has this big ranch and stuff. I don't know why I'm making it like Debbie Reynolds, but like that's how she seems described to me. Um, so anyway, Samantha wakes up. She is like going to the main place where they're all at like 5 in the morning, and the guy that's in charge, Bill King, is the foreman. He's an older guy in his 60s, and he has like a secret relationship with the lady Caroline she's staying with, but nobody knows about it. The assistant foreman is in his maybe early 40s. We don't know his exact age yet, but he does have a 20-something-year-old son. So again, these are older people, which I appreciate that I don't have to read about like a 19-year-old every time I read a romance novel. But the guy's name is Tate Jordan, and he is a dick to her, like, immediately. He's like, whoever the fuck this city girl is, I'm putting her on Rusty, this old ass horse that's gonna give her like a fit 'cause he's lazy. And then, oh, she wants to ride this other one today. Okay, cool, I'm gonna be sassy about it. And one of her friends that works there, one of the older guys, he's like, hey, he's a good dude. He's had a lot going on. His wife like ran off with the foreman of another farm he worked at and like adopted his son. He doesn't really have a good relationship with his son. But he is a good guy. He seems a little sexist, but in that way that like not antagonist, protagonist, and like romantic leads in the 80s probably would be, because she has to do the feminine thing, like the feminism of the 80s with him of like, I can hold my own, sir. And she does, but she is realistically like, that fucking hurt. 11 hours on a horse fucking hurts. And then she did it the next day. And so right now it's really just kind of her proving herself and like sassing back and forth with this guy because he doesn't know her from Adam. And so she's like, yeah, rightfully, I wouldn't give me the hardest horse to ride out here either. But also, you don't know me. You could have asked me about this stuff. And so she's like giving him reasons for why he's acting that way, but she's still like, but it doesn't excuse the fact that you're being a dick. And I don't know. It feels like it's probably going to be slower burn because they don't feel attracted to each other. She's not talking about how hot he is. Mainly, she's talking about the fact that he's fucking huge. He's like 6'5". He's like a big dude, and he's just kind of mean. She's like, I want to prove myself. I'm gonna ride this crazy ass horse that is really dangerous to ride, and I'm gonna prove myself as just as good as the rest of them, and I'm gonna distract myself from everything. So far, again, not a lot has happened besides her getting to the farm and starting to work. No real romance has happened yet. Um, so we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I don't know how far I'll get tonight, but I am hoping to finish this like in the next week. If I can finish this by my birthday, that would be great. Um, but we'll see. It's the 15th. There's a tentative chance that there's going to be some winter weather this week. I've got my fingers crossed for at least one remote day because that would be nice. But we'll see. We'll see. Either way, I'm gonna read onto this because I've caught up in most of my other college classes and stuff, so I've got a little bit of free time, and I do want to get this read before the end of the month. So we'll see. Y'all, I've read this much. I read this much. They start fooling around here. This is how much is left in the book after he starts kissing. He's like, hey, we should hook up. And she's like, I'm not doing that. I've been wrong before. And like a day later, he's like, I love you. And she's like, I'll do that now. And then they fool around for like a month. But like he's a ranch hand and they've got rules. Cat hair. And they've got rules and he can't just, settle down with her and you don't want to be here. You actually want to go back. And then it all culminates in like, he gets a TV for his cabin that they've been sneaking around into, and her husband is on the news, and he makes like a comment, and she was like, he's not even that hot. And then like he finds out that that's her ex-husband, and he is like pissed, like chauvinistically jealous in like a way that only really a man can do, of like, oh, he has so much more money and you're gonna want that. You'll wake up and realize that that's what you wanted. She's like, I am literally telling you, laying here naked in this bed where we just had sex, that is not the case. And so again, it's a communication issue, but it's not her. It's not her. And he doesn't take this well. And by not taking this well, I mean, he literally disappears. He quits his job as assistant foreman. He goes and gets his son from a neighboring ranch, and they like buy a truck and take all their shit and disappear. And it's the 80s. So you can kind of do that, especially if you're a ranch hand and you just work on ranches. And so she spends like the rest of her time at the ranch calling other people, trying to find out if they've hired this guy at any of their ranches. And she's like devastated, and Carolina's like, hey, you have to go back to work. So she goes back to work. She's kind of dialing it in, and this car company, like, she sells them advertising idea of ranches and this masculine guy on the ranch because you associate power with a sports vehicle. Anyway, they love it. They want like to do that, and so she like casts it. She scouts out locations. She can't do Caroline's ranch because Caroline's only a like boyfriend person thing. The foreman at her ranch had a heart attack, so he's kind of out of commission. He's also like Tate, where he's like, "Oh, can't get married. It wouldn't be appropriate." Like, oh my God, get the fuck over yourself. Anyway, they go film stuff. They go to different ranches and film things, and she's like talking to the ranch hands and like trying to connect with them and get caught up with who and where and what Tate might be doing. And at this last ranch, they finished shooting. This guy, he's like, you rode horses today, like, you know what you're doing. You should see this new horse we got. And the new horse is like this big gray stallion, and he's real pretty. And they're like, he's thrown a couple people, but you could probably handle him. So she gets on the horse. She rides off on the horse. And the horse rides like full gallop to a ravine. The horse stops and she does not. And at this point in the book, her best friend Charlie has had to make the decision by telling them that he's her brother and making the decision for her. They were like, hey, we have to operate. Like, we have a very small window of opportunity. If we don't operate, there's going to be increased pressure on her brain and she might not like live. She might become a vegetable. If we operate, it is very likely she will be paraplegic because of the amount of spine fractures and neck fractures. And he elects to operate. And so at this point in the book, with this much left, mind you, she is currently like in a full body cast and does not realize the extent of her injuries yet. They're trying to fly her back to New York. I didn't know that's what was going to happen. And maybe like you do read Danielle Steele, and maybe that's a common thing when like really traumatic things like that happen. Anyway, I did not. First of all, I didn't expect to read that much of it. And it wasn't even particularly steamy. Like, I know we use spice level now. It was very clinical in the few things it did describe, but a lot of it's very fade to black and just kind of the assumption that things happened. It wasn't really sexy. I think it's supposed to be sexy. I guess it's an 80s thing and maybe like a yearning, but they didn't even yearn. It's like a page and a half, and they're like, I love you. You don't even know that bitch. You don't even know her for real. So I don't know what's gonna happen here. I think I'm probably gonna finish it tomorrow on Sunday because it's gonna be bad weather. We don't have anything else to do. So if I'm not forcing myself through finishing The Awakening for AP Lit class, I will probably finish this book because this has been wild. I did not expect this, and if my eyes weren't tired, I'd probably keep reading, but my eyes literally, I cannot stay awake anymore. I was interrupted from a nap today and I've had an afternoon. I've had an afternoon, so I'm going to now at 11 o'clock at night call it a night, and then I'll keep you posted if I end up reading more of that tomorrow. Okay, I finished it. I don't know what I expected. I think I'm going to have to recap later because it's almost 9 o'clock and I need to go to sleep. But I did finish it. This originally sold for $3.50. What a wild ass ending. Like, it's of a time. That's all I'm going to say tonight. And I'll do a full breakdown. Oh man. But hey, it met the challenge requirement. It felt kind of funny to do February's wrap up today because it's snowing again. And I did January's wrap up on a snow day. This one is a little different. There's more ice involved. Take my breath. And it's not been snowing for very long. It's not even been snowing for like 2-3 hours. And it's not really hard yet, but it's going to snow through the night and a little bit tomorrow. So we have a remote day today. We have a remote day tomorrow. They just haven't announced it yet. So it's cold. Let me wrap up Palomino. I've told you this already, but like she's making the commercials and she's going to ride this horse and she falls off the horse and ends up in the hospital. She breaks her back. She's a paraplegic. So from that point, you think, okay, where is this going? First of all, spoiler alert, she stays in the wheelchair. She does not regain the ability to walk. It isn't one of those kind of stories. Like, she stays in a wheelchair and is in a wheelchair at the end. So actually, disability rep, like, okay, it is definitely dated. They refer to things that it feels like the 80s talking about handicaps. But so what she does, okay, where do I even begin? Bill King dies, the guy that was like secretly with the lady who owned the ranch. He has like multiple heart attacks and dies. Like, you know, it's kind of a thing that happens. She finds out later. And then not very long after that, Caroline, the lady who owned the ranch, she passes away. I guess like she's like, no, I'm good. I don't want to live without him. So she leaves the ranch to Sam. I'm filming a video.
I didn't know.
That's okay. Where are you going?
I was looking for you.
I'm filming a video.
Don't freeze to death.
I'm gonna try not to. Anyway, she leaves the ranch to Sam, and Sam's like, what the hell am I gonna do with a ranch? Like, I live in New York. I work in like a big lady job, and like I have a wheelchair now, but like I still like this job. And she eventually chooses to leave that job to her friend Charlie, and he's gonna be like the creative director of the thing when the boss retires. And she goes to the ranch, and she like fits it out to be a home like camp thing for children with disabilities to do like horse riding therapy, and they have like a school, and they do other activities and stuff to get to help on the farm. And so like it's actually kind of fun and progressive in that way, but again, it is very of the 80s about some of the stuff it does. But she's so like genuine in what her like want is, because she gets on a horse, she's like, oh, I can still ride a horse, and she's very excited about it. She hires this young guy named Jeff, and he's like 20 years old. She's now like 33, by the way. And he kind of flirts with her a little bit, but mainly he's just good with the kids. And then she meets this kid named Timmy. And Timmy's in a wheelchair because he had polio, because his mom is a drug addict whore. I mean, they raked this woman over the coals. She's like a 22-year-old drug addict. She got pregnant, like, you know, with a John, and that's where he came from. She never even got him vaccinated. And, this is a good... RFK Jr. should read this, because it's, we need vaccines. Anyway, he comes to stay with them because CPS has taken him, because the lady's going to be put in a drug rehabilitation clinic. I'm squatting, so this is going to be, like, I'm in pain now, but it's all right. You need to hear how crazy this gets. Anyway, Timmy, like, looks like her. He's got, like, bright blonde hair, and he's a little bit standoffish at first, but he, like, really opens up, and they bond, and she's like, holy shit, I should adopt this kid, because I can't have my own physical kids. Like, I don't even know if these parts work anymore. I could have him, and his mom isn't good for him. And so her lawyer's like, ugh, I don't know, the courts favor the natural mom usually. And she's like, that's okay, I'll take it anyway, I'll try. And so they take it to court, and the judge is like, oh, but look how sad his natural mom is, and she's rehabilitated now. And he sends Timmy back with his mom, who like abuses him. It's implied that she does some other stuff and has let other people do things. And Sam and Timmy are devastated, and she's like, well, there was my one chance at having a kid. Like, no ma'am, you could literally go adopt the kid right now. But anyway, she's depressive, and she's so like bummed out. She just kind of stays in bed, and the guy Jeff comes in and like, hey, you got to get up, it's like New Year's Eve, you got to live your life. And so she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. And he kind of flirts with her and, like, is basically insinuating, like, Rod, we could hook up. And she's like, you are way too young for me. Like, you're very hot, but you need to go live your life. You have so much life left to live. And he's like, yeah, I'm taking this girl out. We're going to, like, I promised her dad I'm not going to get her too drunk, and we're going to have fun. She's like, be safe. You have such a long life ahead of you. No, he doesn't. They literally get in a car accident because he's drunk driving, and the girl breaks her arms and legs, and he fucking dies. Okay, he fucking dies. Jeff, this 22-year-old, this hot dude, okay, she's so devastated. She's like, I just should have slept with him, then he would have been here. And the girl's dad is like, no, he still might have gone out. Okay, this isn't over yet, because they have to go through his stuff. He's a ranch hand, so does he have any family? We don't know. Now, I know, because I remember names really well in this story, exactly who Jeff is. And Jeff is the grown adult son of the guy she fell in love with. They're looking through his stuff, and they find the contact information for Tate Jordan, and they contact him. She's like very clinical about it. Hey, we buried him beside Bill and Caroline. We hope you don't mind. We're sending you his stuff. And she's like, I'm washing my hands of it. I don't want him back. Well, as she's finding that out, God, I have to put my leg on the ground. Oh, it's so cold. As she finds that out, she also gets a call from her lawyer. He's like, hey, you need to come to LA like today. And she's like, today? I'm kind of dealing with literally everything right now. And he's like, no, it needs to be today. So like she has Josh, her like foreman, like take her to, it's so cold, I'm sticking to the ground, take her to LA, and in the room is Timmy in his wheelchair, and she's so excited to see him. And the lawyer's like, hey, good news, his mom overdosed. He's your kid now. The judge said it's okay. And she's like, yay, my child. And so R.I.P. to that young lady, I guess. And so she takes Timmy back home. Well, it's like a couple days later, Timmy's finally having to go back to school and stuff, because she's obviously his actual mom now. And Tate Jordan shows up, and he's like looking for her, and she's like avoiding him. She doesn't want to see him. And she rides out one day, and like he follows her on a horse, And he's like very apologetic while they're on the backs of these horses. And he's like, I thought about you every day, but I knew you wouldn't want to see me again because it was wrong for me to leave you. I've thought about how stupid that was, and I was an idiot, and I should have never done that. And she's like, that's fine. I'm over it. It's past. Because he still doesn't know she's handicapped. And so she's trying to avoid him realizing that she can't walk. And so she's like not getting off the horse. She's not wanting to do anything. He's like, I'm not trying to make a move on you. I just want to walk with you and talk with you. She's like, nope. She rides off, and he realizes as she's riding that the way she's riding is wrong. He's like, oh shit, she can't walk. And so he like chases her down. He's like, do you think that would stop me? Oh my God, it's snowing so much harder now. He's like, you think that would stop me? Like, I still want you. I want you. It's you as the person, not what you can do physically that I want. And so it ends with him helping her off the horse and into her wheelchair, and her wheeling off and like letting him into her house, which he wouldn't do, by the way. He wouldn't go in the house earlier. So like, is this a good book? Do I recommend it? No. It was an experience, and it read really quick for it being like 400 pages. And every few pages I was just like gasping because I was like, what do you mean that happened? What do you mean? So that's February's book. And yet Sam Taylor, congrats, girl. I don't know. This was not bad, but it was definitely a weird one. And I'm glad I read it because like I said, I've had this for a while. I've had a hard copy of this for a while. I'm not going to pull the card for my March book today. I'm actually, I think, going to try to pull that on next Thursday because that's my birthday. So it'd be kind of funny to pull it on my birthday. But I need to go inside now because my hands are like red because it is very, very cold out here. But I hope you enjoyed this breakdown and this snowy bush behind me. It's so pretty, though. I love snow. Happy birthday, Gina. Today is my birthday. I just turned 33. I got some fun stuff. Steven got me this guy reading a book. Fun fact, apparently, the lady at Joann's told him that this has gotten recalled because sometimes the books have print in them, like from an actual newspaper. This one doesn't. This is a regular, just it's empty pages. But apparently it's from like a murder trial or something, and people were like distressed, so they were recalling them. So anyway, he also got me Leaf and his little camper van thing, which is very cute. It has like a little sleeper thing in it. And he got me the video game Stray on Switch, which I'm really excited to play. Janeway is really excited about it. And you sent me this today, which is very exciting. And he said actually that he never saw the message about it, so he almost bought it as well, which would have been fine because then I could have built 2 of them. So like, it's not really a bad thing. But anyway, I'm gonna pick the card for March today, and I had this idea. I don't know how well it's gonna work to do it kind of like a tarot card, like shuffle, and let whatever falls out be the card. But I think I'm gonna move back so you can see that that's what I'm doing, right? Like shuffling it. Okay, are we clear? We're good? All right. I'm going to see what works with this. Janeway, you going to help me? Can you bless the cards for me? Okay, we got a little head thing from Janeway. All right. So we just shuffle. I'm going to try to look at the camera to see if I can tell when one falls out. Read a book that you have really been anticipating. I'm deciding that the one I've really been anticipating is one from last year, and you've already read it, so you seem to like it, so I'll probably like it. I almost, for this, just for your FYI, at the end of the year, almost picked Elfie by Gregory Maguire, and then I remembered, let me blurt that out. Then I remembered, I'm not like anticipating that one. I'm almost dreading it because I don't really want a prequel. So I picked this one instead. I've cut out and edited what just happened was I thought that it was nearby, and I looked at all the places I thought I put my books that I'd just gotten, and it wasn't in any of those places. And then I sat down to basically tell you I couldn't find it, and saw that I have it on my book cart behind the camera. So I'm going to be reading for March Under the Same Stars by Libba Bray. Under the Same Stars is like 3 different timelines of like a family, I think, if I can remember correctly. This is the like fun edition with the cool edges. And I'm going to probably do this one as a mix of physical and audio. I have to go to Greensboro on Monday and drive home on Tuesday, so that's like 6-ish hours in the car, so that's probably a good chunk of this finished. And I'm really excited because Libra Bray, like, I love the Diviners, but that's all I've read from her. And I, again, heard this is good. So we'll see, but that's March for a book you've really been anticipating. Under the Stars. You're going to have to excuse me. I look rough today. It's Sunday. I finished 75% of this in one day. One day. And most of it was physical reading. I did do the audiobook a little bit. It's very good. I kind of guessed some of the connections to the different timelines, where there's one in the 1940s, one in the 80s, one in 2020. But every now and then they catch me off guard. I don't like that we're very clearly headed toward some tragedy. But, I mean, okay. You know, I kind of figured that. But I do expect to finish it today. Which is good because I was worried I wasn't going to finish it at all. And fun fact, I had a whole thing planned. I was going to listen to the audiobook and build the typewriter thing that Gina got me for my birthday. And I was like, I painted my nails pink and I was going to match. It would be very cute. And then I just started reading and couldn't stop. So, something to be said about that book. The book quality there. Which is good considering this is the first one of the cards for this year that I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a good pick. So I'm going to enjoy the fact that it's not like 40 degrees outside. It's currently 68 degrees and I'm in the sun and it's nice. It's me and Nimoy hanging out outside and I'm going to read this book. Despite my best efforts, I did end up crying a little bit at the end. Because it was never going to end happy. It was never going to end happy. And I knew that going in when one of them was literally about people in the resistance in World War II. Someone's going to die. Probably multiple someones. So yeah, this was really good. Highly recommend. It's probably getting 5 stars. I'm glad the card led me to this. And it was very quick to read. Like, for it being as big a book as it is, like, this took me a max of 2 days because I just couldn't put it down. And the audiobook is pretty good too, but I found it just as easy to read physically with this one. Wow. I think, forgive me for like laying down, but like I'm going to take a nap today. I think the weakest storyline for me, unfortunately, and this sounds mean, but when I say weakest, I don't mean that it's bad. I mean, like, the 2020 timeline with Miles and Chloe, I felt like was the weakest link. And I think it's just because she wrote it during the COVID lockdowns, so there wasn't a lot of, like, it was very firsthand. You can tell that, like, I don't know, everything else read as if there was research done. 2020 was like, she didn't know where it was going. And I think you kind of need the where this is going to make it. I'm not saying it the way I want to, because none of these timelines were particularly bad, but you can definitely tell that we know the war will end. We know that the Berlin Wall will come down. We don't know what's post 2020. And anybody who is like, we're living in a post-COVID world can argue with the fucking wall, because that you're only in a post-COVID world because you're ignoring it, truthfully. But it, I don't know, it just felt like she didn't really quite know how to make these characters be the characters that found everything out about who the people were in the other 2 timelines. Or not timelines, but you know what I mean, like the past stories. But, that is not to say it was bad. Again, it wasn't bad. It's just they were the framed narrative that kind of told us everything. And I think that she did good with what she had, but it wasn't as strong as the other 2. And I found myself like really excited for the other 2 ones to do the 80s and the 41. I kept getting excited for them to show back up because Miles was kind of learning with us what was going on, and his journey toward figuring out how to be a part of a resistance was good, but again, it's all good. Again, like I said, this is 5 stars, but I can tell that this was written during the Resistance rather than after. Hope this is making sense. It makes sense in my head, but like I said, I am going to take a nap, so maybe it doesn't make sense. Anyway, that was March's book for like reading anticipated. I believe that's what it was, reading anticipated. And it's only currently March 23rd, so I'm going to pull the card. I mean, I might pull the card today, like later tonight, only because like we only have one more week of March, and spring break for us this year is not till the end of April. So like I could technically get April's book done and then pull a card for April and read it the last week of April and go ahead and get May out of the way. Not to rush this challenge by any means, but I gotta be smart about my challenges when I'm in grad school and teaching. So anyway, that was the book. That was for March. Well done. Good pull for that one. Okay, it's currently March 29th. Yeah, March 29th. This month ends on a Monday, and so if I wait till Monday to pull the card for April, I will forget to pull the card for April. So let's get started. I have started a couple of books. I'm currently reading, just for a little bit of context, I'm currently reading Sunrise on the Reaping, mostly physical, because I enjoy it that way. Not that the narrator is not good on the audiobook. I feel like I'm getting more out of it reading it physically. And I'm into part 2 of that, to give you context. I started Hungerstone on audiobook, but then realized that I can read the Finley Donovan book on audiobook, so I'll probably start that instead. I just read I Who Have Not Known Men yesterday. Interesting one. We'll likely revisit that one. It was kind of funky. And then I still have 2 books to read for AP Lit. I have to read Lord of the Flies and Fahrenheit 451. And I've been putting them off because they are like the longer and more dry books of the set, but I also really like Lord of the Flies. I don't know why I'm putting it off. But that's beside the point. I've got to pick one of these. And this is important too because this is the last one in the first third. Not going to catch me slipping like last year where I kept saying quarter. The first third of the year, so January, February, March, and April are the first video. So this will be the one that closes out that first third of the year. So hopefully we end on a high note. Last year we did not end on a high note, and that is not the card's fault, and that is not the book's fault. It was the yellow wallpaper retelling. I can't remember it now. Not quite a ghost or something like that. That was me. April was weird last year. So anyway, I'm talking too much. I'm yapping a lot. No one is allowed to judge how chipped my nails are. I'm going to repaint them for prom when I have prom duty next week, and I just don't want to have to repaint them again. So they're really bad. I don't want to talk about it. Okay. I'm going to pick this one. It has a little dot on it. It's like it's not clean. So I'm going to pick the top one here. So maybe it got dirty or something. I don't know. Anyway, I haven't looked at it. It's read a book that is from an author you've loved before. I mean, I guess I could count the Finley Donovan for that, right? Because I've loved those books. I really loved the first one. It feels like funny because I just read, Under the Same Stars, and Libba Bray is an author that I've loved before. I could do Suzanne Collins and count Sunrise on the Reaping, but that feels like cheating because I've already started that book. Feels like it needs to be, and I don't really want to count Lord of the Flies. I just said that I like Lord of the Flies, but that's like I love the book. I don't know if it's that I like the author. This is a hard one. Oh, no, it's not. Give me a second. I know what I'm reading. For April, a book by an author you loved before is going to be The Buffalo Hunter because I love Stephen Graham Jones, and this just came in. It's relatively new, and I think it's time to bring in some horror because so far we have had like a children's fiction fantasy book. We've had a like old-timey historical romance. We have had a more modern take on like contemporary issues fiction, and now we're going to have historical vampires. with indigenous slant to it. I'm very excited about that. Great. That works out fantastically. I love that for me. How fun. So I will get to this in April. The good news is the very last week of April is spring break. So even if I don't do anything else than put this off to the last week of April, hopefully we'll end on a high note. He has not let me down yet. Some of his books haven't been as strong as others. I will admit, I didn't like I Was a Teenage Slasher as much as some of his previous books. But really that's just because I think some of his other books did that theme better. Like if you want that theme, read Night of the Mannequins. Just saying. But I am going to give this a shot. Perfect. I don't know. The vibes feel good. The vibes feel good. I'll update you if I do decide to read that before the last week of April. But, like, looking at my schedule, it's looking very last week of April-ish. So, anyway. April's book. Alright, Gina. The April book is done. It's time to talk about it. I like this book. I did give it 5 stars. I don't like the ambiguity of the ending. I want it to be a little bit more, this is what happened. But I said it in, because I'm currently filming a spring break thing right now. But I said it in that, and it's still true here. This is very, like, The Only Good Indians. Like, it's one creature, and I'm going to spoil stuff if you don't, like, I'm going to spoil stuff. It's one creature who is getting revenge for the fact that all of his people were wiped out. And not like all of his people, but all of his people in this one like community were wiped out while he was basically unable to get to them because he was a vampire. And some of the cool mythos that's added to vampires in this book is so neat to me. He calls the vampire Catman because he kind of looks like a cat when he sees him, the way his teeth go. And we learn, because he gets bit, they all get ambushed and all his friends die. He gets bit and attacked, but he ends up consuming the blood of the creature, and so that's what turns him into it. But later on, when he meets the Catman again, the Catman's like, well, you're only part of me because you came from me. So whatever created the Catman, or however the Catman became the Catman, he is a more pure version of a vampire than Goodstab is. And Goodstab's not like a bad guy. He feels regret that he has to eat from his people. And the reason he has to do that is because these kind of vampires become like the thing they consume. So he tries to he just eats long legs. He eats like the deer and gazelle and the things that like are out where he can get them, and he doesn't have to interact with people. And he grows horns and a tail, and he kind of begins to look like one. He's like, I ain't doing this. Like, I can't do that. And so then he begins to eat trappers that are out there, like the actual buffalo hunters. And he starts to look like a white guy. And he meets, like, the god that is in the mountain. And the guy's like, you know what you have to do. Like, if you want to look like yourself again, you have to eat from your people. And he's like, he hates it. He's so upset about it. And so he goes and he mainly eats from people who are already on the way toward death or dying or otherwise incapacitated. Because he has a couple accidents where he kills people who doesn't mean to. And all this leading up to a confrontation that he has with the Catman. And the Catman, the first time he meets him is, again, he's been consuming long legs, so he's very tall, and he's got horns. And then he traps him in ice and feeds him specific things to, like, make him look like a white guy again. And when he goes back, the Catman is now walked twice, and he looks like a Native American. And how he defeats the Catman is crazy. He feels guilty about it, and he kind of should, because he does a bad thing, but for the ultimate good, right? And then that's just the one storyline. The other storyline is the preacher trying to figure out what the heck is going on, and about halfway through the book, he goes, oh no, I know what's going on. This guy knows me, and the reason he knows him is because he has something to do with the massacre. And so all of this has been sort of his sections of the book are called the absolution of 3 persons to absolve him of this guilt. And it's, I don't want to say anymore because, like, the ending, the confrontation and ending, like, everything from that ramps up so crazy. Like, what Goodstab does to this dude is insane. And then it's Etsy's point of view, and Etsy starts it and ends it, and she's in 2012 And she's coming up on the anniversary of this. She lives alone with her cat. She's trying to get oh gosh, what's that thing that tenure that professors get? And then after you read all of that dark gospel, she reveals that they're not going to give her tenure for it. They don't believe it's communications related enough, and she's so pissed off, and strange shit starts happening. Now I guessed that pretty early on. I said, oh, somebody's coming back as a vampire to mess with her in 2012. I did not know how correct I was with that. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but like she, I guess, survives. That's why I say it's kind of like the Only Good Indians. The deer woman was trying to, or the elk woman was trying to like get revenge the whole time, but there's kind of this begrudging respect with. I know it starts with a D. It's like Danny or Danielle, but I think it's spelled slightly different. Of the daughter of one of the men. So like how generations can provide you with the ability to be forgiven for these things. And I don't know, it was just really good. It was really good. It was spooky. I'm sure the problem with the audiobook is that it's written old, right? Like this feels like once you get past Etsy's first part, and it's just the preacher and Goodstab talking, it's written very old. But I like that because it gave Frankenstein. It gave gothic horror because you don't know what's happening. You get slight, like, creepy things, but you don't really have answers to it. And so that's why I liked it. And that's it for April. Thank you, Lord. The April book didn't suck. It feels like every year when I get to one of like the endings, like the last book is kind of like meh, blah, doesn't matter. But that's the end of the first, not quarter, third, the first third of the challenge and the end of the first video. And so I'm going to pull now, today on April 23rd, I'm going to pull the card because I'm on spring break, so I might as well. But I'm not going to let you know that. You have to wait for the next video to find out what the May book is. So anyway, that's been it. That's been this video. Assumedly, I haven't edited anything yet, so how do I know? But January, February, March, and April should be what you just watched, and the next video should be available. That's through most of the summer. Oh my God, we're almost at summer. What the hell? Gina, what book up? Ugh. I'm overreacting.